I think going to war is the most stupid thing that ever happened to the American public. What are you gonna get when you kill a bunch of guys and you occupy the land where they live and everything? What have you got? You can't take it home and put it in your pocket. The land's still there, but you've killed a lot of people. For what? The mountain fighting, it's a different ball game, I'll tell you.
Donald Buckland served in World War II in the 10th Mountain Division as a ski trooper in Italy. His experiences in mountain combat were very different from the other soldiers who served.
Donald was born on May 4th, 1921 in Escanaba, Michigan.
Ever since a young age, Don had an adventurous spirit.
Back when I was about 4 years old, I have a scar right under my eye here. I was going to school up there, and the swings were going back and forth like this here. And I was a real smart little kid. I could run, when it would go one way, I'd go underneath. When it come back, I'd go that way. Well, one time it picked up speed, and it nailed me right here. So I was on the way to the hospital. I wasn't such a smart kid after all.
This adventurous spirit would eventually carry Don into the military in 1943.
I tried to get the paratroopers and everything, but they wouldn't take me. And the reason for that, they said I was too small. I was colorblind and flat-footed, so I was out. I thought, how big do you have to be, you know? So anyhow, things went along, and it came up. There was a posting for the ski troopers. And I thought, well, nothing else. I couldn't get nothing else, so I'll try that too. So I went up to get the examiner. There's the same examiner doctor, wouldn't let me nothing else. I thought, oh no. So I said, well, would you please give me a chance, sir? I beg you, Mio. He said, well, I'll give you the exam, but he said, I'll tell you now, you won't get in. The bastard lied. I got in.
The mountain troops, or ski troops, were founded on December 8th, 1941. Their founder, Charles Monat Dole, was inspired by Finnish troops on skis who embarrassed Russian troops. Dole, the president of the National Ski Patrol, tried to convince the War Department to create a mountain troops division. Then, in September 1940, Dole met with General George C. Marshall and persuaded him to create ski units for the Army.
When Don became a ski trooper, he was sent to Camp Hale, Colorado. Camp Hale helped train soldiers for the conditions they'd face in the war. This training included skiing, working with mules, and mountain fighting tactics.
So I got in there, so eventually when I was going to go into service, they wanted to make me a medic. And I said, no, I don't want to be, if I'm going to carry something, I want to carry a gun, so I don't want to just have a hypodermic needle, you know. So anyhow, I got my wish. I learned to ski, by the way, and I learned to live in the snow. I would kick a hole in the snow, put my sleeping bag down there, and then stand in the sleeping bag, take my clothes off, and put them in the bag. And my shoes had to go in first, because if you left them out, they'd freeze you or you could get them back on. So that's quite a thing. You kick a hole in the snow, and you wake up in the morning, you got about that much snow on top of you. You sit up and do the chair and open your little thing so you can see. And it's quite an experience, I'll tell you. I learned to work with horses and mules there. I learned how to break a mule to a saddle, first with a blanket and then a saddle. And then you learn to ride them. And that was a mistake too, because they were real smart. They were big Missouri Jacks. And what they would do, we were down in Texas, they'd go under the pine trees, they'd get where they see a tree, and they'd lift down a little bit, just enough to sweep you off at the top. If you didn't jump off, you were going to the hospital.
On December 21st, 1944, the 85th Regiment left Camp Swift, Texas to depart for Camp Patrick Henry in Virginia. On January 4th, 1945, the 85th Regiment left for Naples, Italy, aboard the USS West Point. The Battle of the Atlantic was still raging on, so soldiers were constantly under threat of U-boat attacks. The Atlantic was also a challenge to cross because of its harsh waters. Thankfully, the 85th Regiment arrived safely on January 13th. The artillery units arrived 5 days later on January 18th.
When I got to shore, I thought, what in the hell is this? There was no houses, there was nothing. There was just rubble. There was nothing there. All blown to hell. So that was my introduction to it. I could hear shells going, and big blasts and everything.
Don felt the effects of war right away as he landed in Italy.
When I first got over there, they had a big cage set up. They had a guy in there, Nazi uniform. He stood like this, give us a suit. I wanted to shoot the son of a bitch right in there. But I knew if I did, it was murder. Because he didn't have a gun. So that passed by. So from there we went into combat. So we went then by truck. They had trucks there and they ferried us someplace. And from there we go by what you call Shanks Mere. That's on foot. You unload the trucks in there. You're actually going into combat then. And the mountains, you're a different soldier altogether. You don't have a bunch of guys standing there. Lots of times you're pretty much by yourself. You're a one-man army, and you just did the best you could. And when it came time to move and that, you'd go.
Donald was a part of one of the 10th's finest achievements, the assault and capture of Mount Belvedere. Mount Belvedere is in the Apennine Mountains in northern Italy. On February 19, 1945, the 10th Mountain launched its attack on the mountain. At 11 p.m., the 85th Regiment started to move towards the summit. The terrain of Mount Belvedere was so difficult to maneuver, so Don climbed it on his hands and knees. The 86th and 87th Regiments attacked surrounding mountains as well. At dawn on the 20th, all objectives had been captured. Later in the day, the 85th, 2nd, and 1st Battalions attacked Mount della Turacca, the final phase of the campaign. On February 24th, after days of shelling and counterattacks, Mount della Turacca was under American control. 923 soldiers were killed in the battle. Don's bravery and the bravery of the other soldiers made the 10th Mountain one step closer to the Po River Valley.
Part of Don's duty was many patrols to capture prisoners. These patrols were vital for the 10th Mountain because it helped them gain intelligence on the Germans.
I volunteered to be a volunteer to go on patrols at night to try to capture a prisoner. And what we did, we'd take, we'd get maybe 9, 10 guys, we'd space them out. And our object was to kill everybody except one man. So a lot of my patrols were just listening and seeing the figures move through the brush of that.
These patrols also made Don wonder.
How come this one young lieutenant who just got out of school, they made him a second lieutenant, how come he's leading the patrol? How does he know where he's going? Well, I was like a mushroom. I was kept in the dark. They fed me bullshit, and I didn't know nothing, So, like I said, if he got killed, how do I get back where I was supposed to go?
Don always volunteered for missions when he was in Italy. Volunteering even got him the BAR.
I volunteered for everything. And the Army, the golden rule is don't volunteer, right? Well, I volunteered for that. I couldn't get it. 2 of my friends got it, the BAR. So I had just a rifle, so we get overseas. My 2 friends didn't want no part of the BAR. One says, not me, he said, and the other one says, my uncle's in the German army, he said, I'll be shooting against him. So they refused to carry the BAR, believe it or not. The volunteer, I volunteered to carry the BAR. Never had any training or nothing. So I carried the BAR, weighs 22 pounds, plus you got magazines, plus everything else, you know. Yep, I carried that all the way through.
Don saw many horrible things while on patrols.
I went on one man, on patrol, and we had 22 guys. Four of us got back. So, and it's a different story in the mountains, you know. You're only so much room and but I lost a lot of friends over there. I seen when we first got in combat, our second command, he took off. He lost his mind. He was running, screaming like crazy. Never seen him again. And my other leader, he stepped on mine. He lost his legs. He got sent back to New York. And you get so damn tired over there, like at night when we'd be on a push, and we get bowed down, you know, there's so many shells and that coming in. I flopped down on the ground. We got ready to go again. Next thing I know, somebody's kicking my feet because you're so tired you pass right out. And when they kick your feet, if you looked up or that or moved, they knew you were alive. Otherwise, you were dead. They just moved on. So that's the reason I got bad feet now, because I got too many times they were kicking my feet, you know.
However, on many patrols, Don and the 10th Mountain had to be alert at all times.
But it's not like being in the regular army. In the regular army, a whole bunch moves out. And the ski troops, you're in these little mountain towns, and you're in and out, you know, as something else.
This different type of battle required soldiers to be closer and have tighter bonds. These bonds could also cause pain to soldiers. Don saw some of these bonds broken. He saw one of his captains get shot, he saw many of his fellow soldiers die, and saw one of his sergeants go crazy. Don had not only to cope with the stresses of war, but also with seeing his best friend, Frederick Romberg, die in front of him.
And well, I was over there with my best friend. I used to wrestle with him and everything. And I seen him, I said one day, I said, Albert, where are you going? And there was a big bunch of rocks, you know, outcropping. And he was standing right there. And he said, I'm point man. We were going on an attack, and he's the first guy to go. Well, he didn't go 30 feet, and I seen him get killed. Well, anyhow, he had a wristwatch on, and he said, there was three of us chummed together all the while. He said, I know I'm not gonna make it. He told me that. I said, yeah, you'll be all right. No, he said, whoever gets me, he said, you two guys, you can have my watch. Well, I didn't have a watch. I was too poor for to have a watch. So anyhow, he laid like that, and he had his arm like this here. And I don't know why he was doing that, because he just got shot. And there was that watch. I couldn't dare. I couldn't go take that watch. Well, anyhow, nobody got a watch. A big shell came in. It was a direct hit. It blew him all to hell. They didn't find nothing. He was missing in action, so they said. I seen when he was missing in action. He was blown all to pieces.
Don even took it upon himself to tell Frederick's mother what really happened to her son in a letter he sent her. Another part of the 10th Mountain's duty was capturing small mountain towns held by the Germans.
I'm sitting in a house in this little town, and I'm looking out the windows, and at night it's snowing, and I could see 6, 7 people coming, and they're all in white. and I could see, it looked like a bunch of spooks or something, you know. And I knew what it was. And all at once, one of the guys in the house, he shot. I'm sitting right there, the window's right by me. He shot right through the window, and he killed the first man we ever had in our outfit. I went one place. We took a town, and I was appointed to go and break into a couple of houses and find out if there's any Germans in there. So I kicked the door open, go in, and I walked in the bedroom in this one house. They had all mattresses piled on one bed. And when I walked in the door, I seen heads poke out of the mattresses. They thought if a bomb hit the house or something, they'd be safe. But they were dreamers, because if a bomb hit the house, there would be nothing left for anybody. It'd kill everybody. So I was sorry about that, because I hate to go in, you know, in people's homes and see things like that. But that's what they call modern warfare, I guess. And we'd go through a town, and they'd just spray the windows, you know, they shoot hell out of the town, and that's the way it went. And if we weren't Saint-Smear on foot, you know, there was a different setup than there too. Well, over there, when we take a town, when we get quite a group together, we'd take a town. We'd go in there, like I say, take a town. We'd go in there, and the bottles of booze and the bars, take whatever you wanted. Just take what you want, walk out the door. Nobody there to say, you want this, you want that, nothing. Like I said, we took the town, we took everything.
There was still time to strengthen these bonds during free time in Italy.
I went one time out on patrol, and I was by the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I thought, I want to see that. At night, I broke away from the outfit, and I went over and I'd seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I thought, well, I'm only going to be here once. I might never get back again, so I went out there.
Italian civilians were very hospitable to the 10th Mountain Troops. They gave them food and wine and invited them into their homes during the war.
I slept in some of the homes. I talked to the people. I got to know them, and they invited me in. I was like a civilian over there, for crying out loud. I'm walking down the street. It's dark at night. I met a guy, and he spoke some American and Italian, and he started to talk to me. And he said, would you like something to eat? I said, well, sure, you know. Come on, he says, oh, I go with him. It's wartime up here. There's no lights. We're going through the places, different places. And we get to a place, and he knocks on the door. Somebody opens the door. They had a little candle, you know. You couldn't see in. I was if they could even see out. So anyhow, we go in there, and I have to tell you, over there in their toilets, they take all the waste from the human body and spread it on their fields for fertilizer. So when I got in this place, they came and gave me a salad, you know. I thought, hey, should I eat that or not, you know? Because, and finally I said, yeah, well, I had enough wine to drink there. I said, oh, I can make that, so. And next thing you know, they brought me something. It was about that big around, about that long. And he started eating that, and I said to the guy, I said, what am I eating? And he said in Italian, cat. That's why I didn't see any cats over there. They were eating them. So I survived all of it, but the wine and drink, it could all come up to here when he said cat. That was my downfall almost.
Don had to adapt to the different Italian culture.
The difference over there is night and day. Beautiful places over there. Nice people. I didn't see many when I was there, I didn't see many kids. I didn't see many young women. Everybody was in hiding, you know. Oh, I slept in one house. I asked the guy, and I got talking to him in a mountain village, and he said I could stay at his house that night. And he said he was in World War I. He lost his leg. Well, it's a funny story because they had a bedroom up there. I was in the bed. Now at once this little girl come in there. She's only 11 years old. Called with me. I said, wait a minute. I said, you can't be here. Well, so she asked me if I had a sweetheart and this and that, you know, so I tried to tell her. And finally I took up my billfold, I gave her a dollar bill, I said, here, you go back to bed. So I was there was a lot of that going on over there. Wherever you went, the people would come up and say, hey Joe, cigarette, papa. What they would beg for cigarettes, and they'd go sell them. Well, going through Italy, I've been all over Italy. We were just about to get into Germany. I was right at the border, and that's when the war ended. But it's quite a tale, I'll tell you.
After VE Day, the 10th Mountain was supposed to go to the Pacific Theater, but luckily the atomic bomb was dropped and the war was over.
I was on a train heading up the north, Escanaba. They were sending me home for a couple of days, and then I was over to China India Theater to fight the Japs. And on the way to Michigan, I could see people dancing in the streets. I could hear church bells. And I didn't know what was taking place. People dancing, having a good time. I thought, what the heck's going on? That's when I found out the war was over.
Don made it home safely without a scratch, despite all the battles he saw.
Again, I never got a scratch. Very, very lucky. That's from being small and colorblind, you know. I went home and I didn't do much of anything. I got home and got married. It wasn't too long before I had two little sprouts, you know, 2 kids. So outside that, things were pretty good.
After the war, Don went back to Escanaba. He soon got a job in Rockford and had to leave his family behind. To see them, he would hitchhike every Friday.
At noon, I would leave, I'd get on the road and hitchhike 320 miles up to Michigan. I get there and see my wife and 2 kids. Sunday morning, I get back on the road, I hitchhike back to Illinois. It's a tough, tough way to go. I got a ride with one guy. Well, he went by in his car, and he stopped about a block away, and he backed up, you know, when he got there. And just then a car went by him. And he said, look at that son of a bitch go. He said, we'll catch him. I thought, well, so we'll get there quicker. So he took off and he got alongside the car and he just cracked the wheel like that, tried to push the guy off the road. So just then a train was going by way down to him. He said, do you think I can make it? I said, no, you can't. I said, I'm going to jump out if you don't stop. So he stopped. He couldn't have made that. He couldn't have made that. So anyhow, I got him with the other guy who went right to the state police post and had him picked up. So again, I say, I did it the hard way.
Ever since I knew this class existed, I wanted to take it. I loved World War II and I thought this would help me connect with the generation I adored. I finally had the chance and got the pleasure of learning Don's story. As y'all know, Don was a ski trooper. While working on this documentary, I learned to ski, and it was hard enough without getting shot at by Germans, so I can't imagine what he had to go through. Another challenge I faced through this process was finding pictures. Finding pictures on the 10th mountain was very hard, but luckily I kept digging and found some. So as Don would say, I did it the hard way. Through this project and Don, I learned that everything will not always be easy, and that you have to work to achieve what you want. Don didn't have the easy way either. His whole life was a struggle. I realized that Don may have grown up a poor child, but through his experiences in World War II, he gained one of the world's richest stories.